After nearly 40 years of implementing the renovation process, Vietnam has shifted from a centrally planned economy to a market mechanism. At the same time, proactively and actively integrated comprehensively and deeply into the international community, promoted industrialization and modernization. Along with the mindset of approaching innovative and unique approaches of Vietnam, implemented by Vietnamese people, Vietnam has achieved great achievements of historical significance, as General Secretary Nguyen Phu Trong said. Never before has our country had such a foundation, potential, position, and international prestige as today. From a poor, backward agricultural country with a small economy, GDP of 26.3 billion USD in the early years of renovation, over the past 40 years, the size of Vietnam's economy has reached 430 billion USD in 2023. GDP per capita reached 4,300 USD, an increase of 58 times compared to the early years of renovation. The rate of households following the multidimensional poverty standard is 2.9%, when previously the rate of Vietnamese people falling into poverty was very high, more than 20%. Along with that, people's life expectancy increased to 76 years old from 61 years old in the 1970s. The number of years people participated in learning programs at all levels also increased rapidly. In addition, from a closed economy, Vietnam has become an economy with a level of global integration when it becomes the 22nd largest trading partner in the world, with total import-export turnover in 2023 reaching nearly 700 billion USD, attracting a large amount of foreign investment, reaching 23 billion USD. This is the highest investment level of Vietnam ever, even when major markets are shrinking and the global supply chain is still broken. This is a bright spot. Along with the reform and opening up process, the adaptability and resilience of the economy have been increasingly improved. In the recent period, with the motto of safe adaptation, Vietnam has steadfastly overcome the negative impacts of the COVID-19 pandemic, received high appreciation from the international community, and become a bright spot in terms of economic stability, recovery, and development in the context of many difficulties at home and abroad. From the sharing, vivid and rich experiences of the world, especially the experiences of countries with similar development levels, close to Vietnam's reality, both successful lessons and failed lessons, will help Vietnam find feasible solutions to solve difficulties, challenges, limitations, and shortcomings in the process of innovation, integration, and development. The development of new economic forms and fields such as green economy, circular economy, sharing economy, new service industries such as semiconductor industry, artificial intelligence, clean energy, issues of promoting and developing the private economic sector, reforming the financial system, national governance, social development, decentralization, delegation of power and policy implementation, building institutions for regional development linkages, are also matters of concern. Experiences in overcoming development traps, not only the middle income trap, but also the cheap labor trap, the growth trap, but not green growth, rapid development without considering sustainability and long-term, affecting society and the environment, etc., will have practical significance in planning development strategies. Reforming the policy system, helping Vietnam achieve the goals set out in Sustainable Development Vision towards 2045. With efforts in trade liberalization, Vietnam joined the World Trade Organization, WTO, in 2007, which further strengthened Vietnam's role in the region and the world, making Vietnam an export center. To date, the ratio of trade to GDP of Vietnam has reached more than 200%, which proves that Vietnam is one of the most open countries in the world. Vietnam is increasingly playing a role in global value chains and promoting the import and export of goods to many countries around the world. The key is that we do not only look back at what we have done in the past, but also look to the future, helping Vietnam's economy to develop further and allowing export growth to shape Vietnam's development. At that time, we must pay more attention to the quality of exports, not just the quantity or products of exports. In the past, Vietnam focused heavily on exports based on labor-intensive industries, taking advantage of labor and low production costs. Statistics show that export volume increased 10 times in the past 20 years, but the average value per export unit increased only twice. To achieve the goal of becoming a high-income country, Vietnam needs to promote growth and assert a more important role in the global supply chain, exporting higher value products. Accordingly, Vietnam needs to aim to export high-value products such as semiconductor chips, or promote the development of large-scale manufacturing industries such as electronic components and footwear. Thanks to that, Vietnam can play a more important role in C. Reviewing the 5 most outstanding achievements after nearly 40 years of renovation. First, Vietnam changed its thinking from a planned economy to a market economy. The thinking has shifted forward and backward, but in the whole process of nearly 40 years, the thinking of managing the economy has shifted towards the market. This is a very big mark and has a very important meaning in the development process. Second, and equally important, Vietnam is repositioning the role of the state. Instead of developing the state-owned economy as the main driver, the state is reducing its direct participation in economic activities, strengthening its management role, and building a legal system and policies to help the economy operate effectively. Third, focus on private economic development policies. Although Vietnamese enterprises are mainly small and medium-sized, the role of the private economy is more affirmed. Many Vietnamese enterprises and corporations have begun to reach out to the international market. Fourth, Vietnam has made great strides and bravely integrated into the world. Right from the early days of reform, Vietnam has had a very clear orientation towards international economic integration. Up to now, the trade value is twice as large as the GDP, and Vietnam focuses on attracting foreign investment. Besides, it may not be necessary to immediately expand to the open sea, but Vietnamese enterprises have actively participated in the global supply chain after foreign enterprises invested in Vietnam. Vietnam integrates to join the wave of the world economy, creating a driving force for faster development. Fifth, over the past 40 years, witnessing the Asian economic crisis, the global financial crisis, and difficulties caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, during this period, Vietnam has always maintained an open orientation while maintaining macroeconomic stability to consolidate the achieved results, helping Vietnam maintain its growth rate. Global value chain. Vietnam has been able to maintain a sustainable poverty reduction rate for many years, and many countries have come to Vietnam to learn from its experience. During the 2012 to 2015 period, there were 16 poverty reduction programs to comprehensively support all aspects of the population groups that are behind in the development process due to disadvantages in geographical conditions, living conditions, or language. Instead of single-dimensional poverty reduction focusing only on the economic sector, Vietnam has shifted to multidimensional poverty reduction in other aspects such as health, education, employment, and clean water. In addition, Vietnam approaches community poverty reduction and increases participation in the global value chain. One of the very important points in Vietnam's poverty reduction strategy is to create a mechanism for people's participation and ownership, reducing dependence and reliance on outsiders. Poverty reduction programs are promptly changed and supplemented to suit the new situation. Vietnam has increased public investment to improve access to education policies so that the new generation has the opportunity to change jobs, change income, and have the opportunity to contribute to the overall development of the country. The Poverty Reduction Assessment Report shows that many families in all provinces and cities across the country believe that one of the strategies to help escape poverty and overcome the vicious cycle of poverty is education. The right education investment strategy will create a fishing rod for people to change their lives and contribute to the country. This is also the key point that needs to be focused on in the coming period. The policies also ensure equal access to employment, reduce gender bias, encourage both genders to participate in the labor market, and create growth momentum for Vietnam. Equal access to employment also creates people's confidence and hope in future development opportunities if they try and make an effort. In addition, the government has an important role in expanding strategic partnerships, listening to different viewpoints of international organizations to take advantage of lessons learned, thereby enhancing Vietnam's role and position in international forums and helping our country grow and reduce poverty sustainably. In the coming time, To reform the financial system, we must be determined to eliminate cross ownership, not just simply deal with bad debts and innovate the management system. More importantly, we must deal with weak banks with cross ownership. Regarding the capital market, due to the consequences of hot development and especially the manipulation of major shareholders in the past, in the coming time, Vietnam needs to focus on restructuring the capital market in terms of policy implementation, not the legal framework. Instead of still accepting a certain level of monopoly in the capital market, we need to shift to international experience, which is not new, which is to protect investors and minority shareholders. In addition, it is necessary to promote reform, innovation, and greater determination in deploying and implementing market-based management and operating tools. After nearly 40 years, the development level of Vietnam's financial system, as well as its management and governance capacity, is sufficient to switch to using market-based operating tools. In operating monetary policy, it is necessary to eliminate administrative control tools, not control interest rates and credit growth. At the same time, it is necessary to ensure the safety of the financial system according to international standards. In the past, Vietnam would have been more successful if there had been greater determination when the operating agency required credit institutions to meet Basel II standards.